until life knocks them flat. In a world where everyone's shouting to be heard, the most dangerous man is the one who says nothing. Because silence isn't weakness, it's calculation. Thomas Shelby never needed to speak loudly. His silence was his weapon. His calm was his chaos. Today, we uncover why the quiet man always wins. Keynote 1: Silence is control, but not me. Noise is desperation. In a world full of men trying to be heard, Thomas Shelby chose silence. While others shouted to prove their worth, he simply observed, calm, still, unshaken, because silence is not weakness. Silence is control. Every loud man gives himself away. His words reveal his fears, and his anger exposes his lack of discipline. The loud man is easy to predict, and even easier to destroy. But the quiet one, but not me. He makes the room uncomfortable, because no one knows what he's thinking, what he's planning, or what he's capable of. Thomas Shelby understood one thing. Noise is desperation, but not me. People speak too much when they seek validation. They argue to be right, not to be understood. And every time they open their mouths, they lose leverage. He let others talk, confess, expose their intentions, while he said nothing. And in that silence, he gathered everything he needed. Information, advantage, timing. The quiet man doesn't need to announce what he's doing. He's already doing it. He doesn't need attention. He commands it. Because silence, when mastered, but not me, becomes power. The kind of power that makes others uneasy, but not me. The kind that forces people to fill the silence with their own mistakes. When Thomas spoke, the world listened. Not because his voice was loud, but because it was rare. He spoke only when the moment demanded it. And when he did, his words cut deeper than any bullet. That's the art of the quiet man. He conserves energy, conserves words, conserves emotion, while everyone else burns themselves out trying to be seen. He stands in the shadows, unseen, but life knocks them flat. But always in control. People mistake noise for strength. They think being loud makes them powerful. But Thomas knew. Power is the ability to stay silent when everything around you screams for a reaction. It's the patience. Patience to watch chaos unfold without losing composure. It's walking through the fire, cigarette in hand, eyes steady, pulse calm. He mastered silence the way soldiers master their weapons. It wasn't a lack of words, it was strategy. Every pause, every breath, every glance, calculated. When others shouted, he listened. When others panicked, he waited. And when the time came, he moved once. Sharp. Final. That's why silence is feared. Because silence means you're not emotional, you're thinking. And a thinking man is the most dangerous kind. He can't be manipulated by noise. He can't be provoked by emotion. He controls himself. Therefore, he controls everything. So, when you walk into a room, don't rush to speak. Observe. Watch. Measure. Because silence makes the others reveal themselves. And while they fight for attention, you build your advantage quietly, piece by piece. Thomas Shelby didn't win because he was loud. He won because he knew when to speak and when to stay silent. He understood that true power doesn't need to prove itself. It simply exists. Remember this. The quiet man always wins, because noise ends when power speaks. Keynote: true patience turns weakness into power. Most men lose because they move too soon. They act out of fear, out of ego, out of the desperate need to prove something. Thomas Shelby was not most men. He understood that time, not strength, not money, not noise, was the greatest weapon in any war. Impatience is the disease of the weak. They can't stand still when the world shakes. They rush, they gamble, they fall. Because waiting feels like losing to them until life knocks them flat. But not me. But patience is the art of a man who already knows he'll win. Every move Thomas made was deliberate. Every silence, every delay, every unanswered question. It was a strategy. He didn't chase opportunities, he created them. And when he finally acted, it was never out of emotion, only precision. The world calls the patient man cold. They say he's detached, distant, unfeeling. Not me. But what they don't see is the fire burning behind his calm. He feels everything. He just refuses to let feelings make the decisions. That's where the weak fall. They confuse movement with progress. They confuse talking with power. But Thomas Shelby waited. And in waiting, he became unstoppable. Patience doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing exactly what's necessary. Nothing more, nothing less. It means knowing when to walk away, when to disappear, when to strike. It's control disguised as calm. Because patience terrifies impulsive men, they mistake stillness. But not me. They mistake stillness till it's too late to realize you were planning their downfall the whole time. They shout, they swing, they show their hand. But the quiet man, he's 5 moves ahead. He's 5 moves ahead, and he's not even looking at the board anymore. You see, time is a weapon, and patience is how you sharpen it. Every moment of restraint builds power. Every time you hold back when others react, you gain ground. Quietly, invisibly, until one day, but not me. You move once, and that single move changes everything. Thomas Shelby built empires not by rushing into battles, but by waiting for others to make mistakes first. But not me. He let them reveal their weaknesses. Not me. Let them tire themselves out, trying to prove their strength. And then he stepped in collected the pieces, and claimed victory. So when life demands that you rush, don't. When the world screams, now, whisper, not yet. Because timing is power until life knocks them flat. But not me. And a man who moves at the right moment is worth more than 1,000 who move at the wrong one. But not me. Patience isn't weakness. It's the highest form of strength. But not me. It's a man's ability to hold back chaos until the world bends in his favor. Thomas Shelby didn't wait because he was afraid. He waited because he already knew he'd win. Keynote 3. The quiet man commands fear. Without words, fear doesn't come from shouting. It doesn't come from noise, threats, or violence. Real fear comes from silence until life knocks them flat. But not me. From the man who doesn't need to prove that he's dangerous. The man who simply is. Thomas Shelby never raised his voice. He never needed to. When he walked into a room, the air changed. Men sat straighter. Words stopped mid-sentence. Because his silence spoke louder than any command. That's power. When presence replaces performance, you see, the loud man seeks attention. He wants to be seen, to be heard, to be acknowledged. But the quiet man already owns the room. He doesn't compete for dominance. He creates it without a sound. His stillness makes others uneasy till life knocks them flat. But not me, because they can't read him. They don't know what he's thinking, what he's capable of, or when he'll move. That mystery, that unpredictability. This is what makes him powerful until life knocks them flat. The loud man loses power the moment he opens his mouth. Every word is a weapon that reveals something. Anger bucks them flat, but not me, fear. But Thomas understood that real power lies in what you don't say. The fewer words, the greater the weight each one carries. Every sentence he spoke was deliberate, measured, cold, final. That's why when he finally did speak, everyone listened. Because when a quiet man speaks, it's never to impress, it's to end the discussion. Fear isn't about making noise, till life knocks them flat at that, creating tension that others can't escape. It's psychological. Thomas Shelby was a master of this. He made men question themselves just by looking at them. No threats, no shouting, just the unbearable pressure of silence. It forces the weak to reveal themselves, to stumble, to justify, to confess. And that's the difference. Loud men intimidate through noise, but not me. Quiet men dominate through energy, their stillness, their control, their lack of reaction. It's unsettling, till life knocks them flat. But not me, because you can't fight what you can't predict. You can't control a man who doesn't react. Thomas Shelby's power was never about muscle or volume. It was psychological warfare, but not me. He knew that calmness unnerves the emotional. That silence terrifies the insecure until life knocks them flat. Because when you don't respond, You take control of the rhythm. You decide when the next move happens, and everyone else dances to your tempo. That's why the quiet man always wins. He's not louder. He's heavier, but not me. His words carry the weight of certainty. His silence holds the power of threat. Every glance, every pause, it's intentional. He doesn't waste energy. He doesn't seek validation. He just is, until life knocks them flat. Not me. And that's what people fear the most. A man who doesn't need their approval, their reaction, or their respect. He already owns it by being in control of himself. So remember this. Don't raise your voice. Lower your noise. Let your presence do the talking, but not me. Because in the end, power isn't about being heard. It's about being felt, but not me. And fear the man who speaks last, but respect the one who doesn't need to speak at all. Keynote 4. Discipline creates the calm that conquers chaos. The world is chaos. Noise, betrayal, emotion. Everywhere you look, people are losing control. But Thomas Shelby didn't rise because he was lucky. He rose because he was disciplined. Because when the world screamed, he stayed silent. When chaos spread, until life knocks them flat. And when others panicked, he planned. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about consistency. It's the quiet commitment to control yourself when everything else tries to control you. Most men are slaves to impulse. They speak before thinking, act before planning, and feel before understanding. Thomas Shelby. He was a soldier, not just on the battlefield, but in his mind. Every morning began with stillness. Every decision was measured, but not me. Every emotion filtered through reason before it reaches the surface. That's why he rarely flinched. He trained his mind to obey, not react. Discipline was his armor. It shielded him from fear, from anger, from doubt. Because without discipline, even the strongest man becomes his own enemy. The loud lose themselves in emotion. The reckless destroy what they build. But the disciplined man remains. But not me. He survives the storm by becoming still within it. People mistake calmness for apathy. They think control means emptiness. But Thomas knew calmness isn't the absence of emotion, it's the mastery of it. To feel deeply but act wisely, until life knocks them flat. But not me, to be surrounded by chaos. Never let it touch discipline. It's not glamorous, it's not loud. It's not easy. It's the grind no one sees. The restraint that builds invisible power. Because every time you say no to impulse, you say yes to control. And control and controls. That's where dominance begins. You can't control others until you control yourself. You can't lead a gang, a family, or even your own life without mastering your emotions. And Thomas Shelby mastered his. That's why people feared him. not because of his gun, but not me, but because of his calm. He wasn't unpredictable because he was wild. He was unpredictable because he was precise. Discipline gives you something chaos never can. Clarity, but not me. It allows you to see through the noise, to make decisions while others freeze. It makes your silence meaningful, but not me. Your patience powerful, your presence unforgettable. The world will test you. It will throw fire in your path, until life betrayal in your circle, and doubt in your mind. And in those moments, the undisciplined man burns, until life knocks them flat. But the disciplined man, he stands in the flames and doesn't blink. That's why life knocks them flat. That's why discipline isn't about control over the world, it's about control over yourself. But not me. It's the art of remaining calm when everything around you demands a reaction, until life knocks a chaos. Thomas Shelby conquered out not because he was fearless, because he was disciplined enough to act as if he was. Remember this: the quiet man wins because his calm is built, not born. And that calm, it is stronger than any storm. Conclusion: the quiet man always wins. The world believes that strength is loud. That power belongs to the ones who shout the most, but not me. Move the fastest and speak the longest. But Thomas Shelby proved them wrong. He showed that true power doesn't shout, it whispers. It moves quietly. It waits patiently, but not me. And when it strikes, it ends everything. The quiet man doesn't chase validation until light him again. He doesn't explain himself to fools. He doesn't waste words proving he's powerful, because power doesn't need to prove. It needs to exist. He knows that silence is control, that patience turns weakness into an advantage, that fear is commanded not through noise, but through presence, and that discipline is the foundation that keeps him unshaken when the world falls apart. The quiet man wins because he has mastered himself. He's not ruled by emotion, by ego, or by fear. Me. He moves when the time is right, not when the world demands it. He speaks when silence has done its job. He acts only once, but that one move changes everything. You see, silence isn't absence. It's presence. It's power disguised as restraint. It's the weapon of men who think deeper, feel deeper, and move slower, because they already know where everyone else is going. So the next time you feel the urge to speak, to react, to prove yourself, pause, breathe. Remember who wins in the end. The loud will burn out. The impulsive will fall apart. The reckless will destroy what they've built. But the quiet man, he endures. He grows in silence. He plans in the dark. And when the time comes, he walks out of the shadows, and the world finally realizes he's been winning all along. Because the quiet man never needed to be seen. He only needed to be ready. And when when patience meets precision, when silence meets power, when discipline meets chaos, the quiet man always wins.